Hi guys, so today's video is going to be a list of some trashing that you all did for some of my favorite books. So a little while back, quite a while back actually, I had done the same thing where I asked you all on my Instagram stories, hey, trash my favorite books, just talk a bunch of smack and I'll react to it. And so many of you were super nice and you're like, I have nothing negative to say, your books that you like are the same ones I like too, and you have great taste. And I was like, you guys are all really sweet. Also, that wasn't the assignment. I did appreciate the sweetness, but this time around, there were some people who were willing to talk some trash, so I will be reacting to that. Because we all know it's coming, there were definitely people who said things about Sanderson, and there were people who said things about Fireborne. So I will read those first, and then there will be a little bit more of a sporadic, random kind of trashing going on later, but we'll start with the Sanderson. This first one says Kaladin, who I love, is kind of a generic main character. His only personality trait is having depression. In my reactions to these things, I'm not upset at any of you, but I mean, I'm gonna react. And in this one, I'm like, what? Because he is super heroic. He tries so hard to protect people, so he's protective. And he is just such an idealistic person, and he tries so hard. But then also, I feel like he's both idealistic and cynical, because he's kind of like, I still am gonna try really hard, and I'm gonna try to save everybody, which is never gonna happen. But at the same time, he's like, those stupid light eyes, which are basically like rich people. And so I feel like, I don't know, he's also angry. He gets very angry and grumpy a lot of times too. But yes, he is sad a lot of the time. This next one I'll give a little bit of context to. So I did not love the Poppy War, primarily because I was annoyed with the main character, Rin. I would love to read R.F. Kuang's other work. She has another one that's going to be coming out, which I'm definitely wanting to check out. But yeah, I didn't love Rin. However, I do love Mistborn, and I love Vin. Apparently, we have strong female characters that have 3-letter names. I do love Vin a lot. So this person says Rin from the Poppy War is the same character as Vin from Mistborn, only interesting. I like that you didn't say more interesting. You just said interesting, which, you know, means that you apparently don't think that Vin is an interesting character whatsoever. I see a lot of people pick on Vin. A lot of people don't like her. A lot of people think she's bland. A lot of people find her annoying. I love Vin. I love her arc. I love so much of what... I shouldn't say I love so much of what she goes through, but I just mean more a lot of the struggles that she's going through are things that in a non-fantasy and non-super violent way I can relate to. And I love her so much. So, you know, I disagree. I mean, I do think they both have moments of, you know what? Screw it. I'm just gonna go kill a bunch of people. I just think Vin ultimately is a little bit of a, maybe not nicer human being, but I feel like she aims to try to save the world. And Rin, you're like, are you gonna save the world or are you gonna destroy it? I'm not really sure. This next one, I don't know that I even can disagree with. It says, Sanderson unnecessarily repeats and explains his magic systems in books. I've skipped whole pages. Yeah, I don't disagree with that. I did an unpopular Mistborn opinions video where I asked all of you to submit specifically your unpopular, as the name would imply, Mistborn opinions. And that's something that got brought up there too. People saying, I get it. They ingest metals. I get it. They toss a coin. I get, and so on and so forth. So I completely understand. And he does for sure. But in that video, my husband was saying that he's the person that appreciates that because he doesn't really keep track of it. So it's hit or miss. I think sometimes, I don't know, in Mistborn, I feel like he hits it really hard. And then sometimes in Stormlight, I almost feel like I could use a little more explanation. I'm saying I would rather totally understand what's going on and then maybe have some repetition than feel like I'm in the dark a little bit. I think. I don't know. Maybe it depends. In this instance, that's how I feel. But maybe in the future. I've read Mistborn twice, so I think if I were to read it again, I would probably do the same thing. I'd probably be like, yep, I understand. I know how Allomancy works. I definitely disagree with this one. It says, Warbreaker is Sanderson's worst book. I have no idea why you like it. Well, excuse me.
Excuse me.
I love Warbreaker. I think it's super fun. I think Sanderson's worst book is Steelheart by far, but I know a lot of people disagree with me on that one. But Warbreaker is fun, and it's got a really cool magic system, and I think that the characters are entertaining. It's a little campier than some of his other works. I feel like Stormlight is his epic, Mistborn is doom and gloom, end of the world, let's turn tropes on their head, and then second era Mistborn I feel like is buddy cop type of a feel, and Warbreaker's like, you know what? Let's have a cool magic system and fun characters and a character who's just constantly speaking about philosophy and just not believing in anything and being really annoying to everybody who does believe in things. He's like the anti-Sazed. This one says Shallan ruined Words of Radiance. I don't think she ruined Words of Radiance. I like her plotline in that story. I feel like it's hard to talk because if you start talking about plot lines in any of the books, it might be considered a spoiler, or even if you talk about characters in specific books, it might be considered a spoiler. So I'll just say Shallan in Words of Radiance, for the most part, I didn't feel ruined it. I mean, that's the book where you get her backstory, so I feel like I appreciated getting to know Shallan more. And it's other times with Shallan that I don't enjoy as much. So of all of them, Words of Radiance would be the one that maybe I like Shallan the most. Sometimes. Yeah, no, I like her in that one because of her interactions with another character, which I think are phenomenally done. And then her interactions with a different character that I don't like. Those annoy me, and you get more of those in the other ones. Which, by the way, speaking of, this person says, almost want to trash Kaladin purely to get back at you on your hate of Adolin, but I can't. And yeah, that's right. Kaladin's amazing. And I do dislike Adolin. If you don't know, I very much don't like Adolin. I find him annoying. People get very upset. I just don't understand of all the characters to be so hardcore towards Adolin. Like, really? Anyway, this person says Adolin is the best character in the Stormlight Archive. Hard disagree. He is not. And then, of course, because you are all very nice, there had to be somebody that said none. I love Sanderson as well. Switching gears and reading your trashing of Fireborne, which this one's going to be painful. I'm used to the trashing of Sanderson because Sanderson is very, very popular, and there's lots of people who don't like Sanderson. There's lots of people who make entire rant reviews, and so I'm used to it. The Fireborne stuff, I feel like it's going to hurt a little bit. This one of my friends sent. It says, Fireborne equals silent, repetitive, pining, and internal contemplation, which I don't disagree with, and also, that's my jam. I say in books all the time, I love just sitting with characters in their feelings. There are exceptions. There are times where it's too much, and then I'm like, are we going to do anything ever? And in that book, though, it was the exact amount that I love of just them being, like, sad and thinking about their childhood and their trauma, and I love it. And so, yeah, I don't disagree. And I like the pining. What can I say? I like the pining, so you're not wrong. Friend of mine, I do agree with this. I actually don't disagree with this next one too. It says the dragons in Fireborne were unimpressive. So the dragons in the first book especially are not that relevant. It's more so in the second book that you start to see the dragons more. So if you're somebody who loves dragon fantasy, you want them to be riding the dragons, talking to the dragons, they're breathing fire everywhere, they have cool magical powers and things. You're going to get a hint of it, but not that much, because the dragons, I've said before, are kind of like overpowered horses in Fireborne. They are way more relevant in book 2, but their power is discussed way more, and them as almost like an animal companion is a bigger deal, I think, in the second one. I love this next one because I feel like these people are saying the opposite of each other. So the first one says nothing happens for 75% of Fireborne. Then they have a snooze face and then like aha face, which to me says it was boring and I wanted to fall asleep. And then there was a little bit of something interesting. And then the next person said the second half of Fireborne is boring. Sorry. So I feel like you guys spoke on my behalf because I can choose to look at this positively. Either I can be like, apparently all aspects of Fireborne are boring because one person was bored at the end and one person was bored at the beginning. But I'm choosing to look at this as one of you was entertained at the beginning and then another one of you thought the ending was the part where stuff started to happen. So that's that's my reaction to this one. Once again, the contradictions are super funny here, and I'm gonna choose to look at this positively. This person said, I hated Lee in Fireborne and Annie deserved better. And then the next person said, Fireborne was good but not great. Lee carried the story. Annie was kind of dry. I'm going to choose to believe that both characters are fantastic and that neither of them are dry or boring. I feel the need to clarify on this next one. This person says, as a political science major, I find it funny how astounded you are at Munda's degree. Okay, I'm not astounded at her degree. I think it's awesome. She has a political theory degree from Princeton. And I often bring that up because it's such a political story. And when I read it, I was like, dang, why does this just hit so well? It hits like she did so much research. And then after I finished the book and I found out that she studied political theory from Princeton, I was like, oh, okay, well, her degree's going to use here. But I'm not like, I'm not astounded, like, what? How is it even possible? But I do think it's really awesome. I think it's really cool, and I really love that somebody with that knowledge is then using that knowledge in fantasy, because so much of fantasy is political. I don't know, I think it's cool. But also, cool on you for having a political science, or you're a political science major. So that's awesome. I'm astounded. Now into some good old classic Witcher trashing. There wasn't a ton of it. I don't talk about Witcher as much as I used to. I do love the series, but I read it quite a while ago. I'm a huge fan of the video game. I did not love the Netflix show. So that's my history with Witcher. I also primarily talked about Witcher when I first started my channel, and I was basically the only person talking about it, and then a bunch of other people started reading it, and it got more popular, which is awesome because I'm glad more people were introduced to it. But the Witcher fandom was not exactly nice to me because, I'm just gonna be blunt, because I'm a girl. And people would be like, yeah, you're just faking it, or they would just say really disgusting sexual things to me. So that's a bummer, but I do love Witcher. And this person says Witcher is a great game, which I agree with, but a poorly written book, which I disagree with. I do think there are aspects of the books that I don't love, but overall I do enjoy the books a lot. I consider them some of my favorites. But I think part of it, and maybe you're Polish and you've read them in Polish, but they were originally in Polish. I've heard that they're much better in Polish. I didn't think the translation was horrendous. I should clarify that I didn't think it was terrible in English, because I don't know. I can't comment on the translation exactly. But I mean, I guess I just think that I still enjoyed it in English, and I've heard it's even better in Polish. This one, I hard disagree with. It says that the Witcher Netflix show is greater than the Witcher novels in just about every way. No, it's not. I so disagree with this. It's okay that you feel this way, but also how? How can you think that that show was way better in every way? I am still interested in season 2 though. I hope it's better. This person brought up Scythe, which I would consider one of my favorites. They said, I know it's not your favorite. It's not like my absolute favorite, but I do really love the Scythe trilogy. So they say, I know it's not your favorite, but Scythe. It's good, but I didn't think you'd like it because of the little character depth and development. Not an unpopular opinion, just curious. So I did really enjoy that trilogy. I enjoyed the whole trilogy. I think that's sort of an unpopular opinion because so many people dislike the last one. But I actually don't disagree. I don't think that there is a ton of character depth in the Scythe trilogy. I think the first one has more character depth, and then as it goes on, it becomes less character focused and more plot focused. I do disagree with this one, which just says Scythe was boring and overdramatic. That's my reaction. This person says, The Lights of Loch Lamora is boring and very hard to get into it. I don't like Lights of Loch Lamora. Another person said Wheel of Time. The female arcs are so boring. I also don't like Wheel of Time. We'll do 3 more. These are all from different books. One of them says The Kingdom of Back was just okay. No, it was not. It was amazing. Most people seem to agree with you, though. A lot of people don't love it, but I thought it was great. I don't recommend the audiobook. The little I heard of it, I was like, no. And then I read it, and I thought it was amazing. So impactful. But it's definitely one that it's impactful if you interpret things the way I interpreted things. And I can understand why it wouldn't be for everybody. This one says, I read Shadow and Bone recently. I was so bored. Nothing interesting happened. Yeah, I don't know. I like it. I think interesting things happen. That's, I guess, my response. I think interesting things happen. But also, I get it. It's not for everybody. It's very young. I thought the show was great. I like the books. I'm a fan. But I know not everybody is. The last one is from the Ash Princess trilogy, so shout out to you for knowing that I love that so much. I do love that trilogy a lot. Quite a bit. It's very tropey, very entertaining. I was like surprisingly moved by the last book. But this person says, I don't like Soren from Ash Princess, but I still love you. I love Soren, so I do not accept your love of me. I'm just kidding. Thank you. That's very sweet. I love Soren, though. Soren was so nice. I feel like Soren took way too much from some of the other characters. That poor guy, he was really loyal, super loyal. It's one of those things where a lot of times in books, there's like unnecessary conflict and people get upset about things and you're like, please stop, just get over it. And I feel like he was the opposite. With him, I thought, you know what? If you got upset and you dipped, I feel like it'd be justified. Anyway, that is it for you all trashing some of my favorite books, and then also a couple books that I don't like even in the slightest. But I really appreciate all of your submissions. I'm sorry I didn't get to all of them, but thank you so much for participating. But I hope you have a lovely rest of your day. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you all later. Bye.